Welcome to yet another episode of Coach Keyton and Crawford here on the Crawford Broadcasting Network, June 8th, 2025, on a beautiful week. Well, it was beautiful yesterday, a little rainy this morning, but it's going to clear up this afternoon. I love the temperatures here in mid Michigan, like upper 60s, low 70s, baby. Lock it in before that muggy stuff gets here. And all those high school athletes, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, out there sweating, trying to prepare for fall sports and basketball camps, everything, all the dirty work, all the gain in your skill set happens or doesn't happen in the summertime.
Period.
Period. End of statement.
Grind. If you want to be good, this where you got to put the time in. No matter where it is, no matter what you're doing, got to get your butt out the bed.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you're not wasting time having to go to summer school or anything.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Get your butt with your teammates.
Yes.
Your teammates, and put the work in together to create that bond that when you've been looking down on the line of scrimmage and you know that guy's been there with you every day at 8:25, putting the work in with you.
Yeah. So if you can fantasize forward, let's just use football because we use that as our metaphor, it seems like, for a lot of things. So when you're in the post-game press conference at Ford Field after you and your teammates just won a state championship, you can talk about the work you put in and the sweat you did this past summer.
Absolutely.
So you got the whole speech already locked and loaded.
That would be a beautiful thing. Hell, I might be I'll still be on the field crying like a baby, I'm sure. Or something like make it to the damn place, but to actually get there and win it, I mean, not everybody could be Herb Brogan, and just be there every year,
When Jim Baker got there, in his short time, as he was there, a long-time assistant at Lansing Catholic, and won a state championship assistant coach. But then he won it as a head coach a couple years later. That was awesome. Well, hey, before we get into the high school stuff, I want to touch on the news peg of the week, as it relates to our audience and as it relates to you in particular as a former Spartan athlete, Spartan football player, was the press conference and the hiring of J Batt. J Batt. He goes by first initial J and the last name Batt. It's a name easy to remember and easy to spell. And he comes from Georgia Tech. He's getting paid, and let's just say he won the press conference, but you and your compelling way and full transparency, Kerry Keyton, I want you to give your evaluation of his hire. Will this be a major upgrade from Alan Haller, who was dismissed or mutually dismissed, whatever? What does this guy bring? I want your opinion, then I'll throw mine in there as well as an outlier. But tell me what your thoughts are about this hire from Georgia Tech.
Well, I mean, obviously, changes were made, blah, 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 who knows why, who doesn't know why. The bottom line is this. Obviously, he's worked with some good, but Nick Saban signed off on him. That says something.
Does that carry a lot with you?
That
Carry?
because he was there during like the run of runs of college football. So, and he was helping, The bottom line is that man got to get these people to open up them pockets. He got to get them folks to open up the pockets that Alan Haller wasn't able necessarily to get to open the pockets. Because if there's no money, then J Batt will fail and he'll be fired or somebody else will come in. Because right now with the $20.7 million revenue sharing starting next year,
Yeah, I just got approved. That the gate's wide open on that now through Congress. So the NCAAs can, yeah. So you got that source of income. Then you have the NIL source of income, which has been going on. So you can make a lot of money if you're a high level intercollegiate athlete. But in the revenue generation sports, and in some cases, well, it's not. I mean, women's softball is really getting popular, and they had 2 million watching the Texas Tech, and I was one of those 2 million watching the Texas game on Friday night. That pitcher from Stanford transferred to Texas Tech, and she got $1 million NIL.
Absolutely.
So it's just not football, basketball, men's that get this
down
money.
there, we both know that down south, baseball and softball are revenue sports like our hockey.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And
I needed to qualify that.
I posted, that you congratulations Texas. You can't buy NIL can't buy you a championship. I'm like, well, if you don't think them Texas people getting paid, then you're sadly mistaken. They're getting paid too. And I'm not mad at the fact that we're having a conversation about a women's softball player getting $1 million in NIL. Absolutely incredibly incredible and amazing. I'm happy as hell for her. Patrick Mahomes at the game. You got a Super Bowl champion quarterback. The free advertising that Texas Tech got for a week.
Yeah.
For playing in the Women's College World Series.
Yeah.
That's free advertising.
Well, and they have a lot of players. They got beat. And they hung top in the championship game. We got to get back to J Batt. This is how we go, but this is how our minds work. We just go into different tangents, so forth. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to make one more statement of women's softball. And my team lost. Michigan lost in the first round. In the regular regional to Texas, they got pounded, and Central Florida, they were eliminated. But these are extraordinary athletes, and if you missed it this year, make sure you tune in to women's softball next year. But back to J Batt, okay? So the thing, what people, he didn't mince words that football is a revenue generator of revenue generators.
You have to have a good football program.
Yeah. And Georgia Tech improved their football program. I look at J Batt, when you're AD at even a major Power 5 university from the ACC like Georgia Tech, if you're making progress in a pro sports town like Georgia Tech is in Atlanta, it's not in Athens like Georgia. It's harder. It's harder to generate following. You look at all these schools that are in the big cities. They have a different kind of challenge to them that freestanding towns, I call them, don't have.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And the thing, and he was even like making, okay, you don't want to go home and home? We'll play the game in Mercedes. I need $10 million.
Yeah. Yep.
Made $10 million for his program. That's like how many home games for them?
Yeah.
Because there's so much stuff. I mean, the varsity. There's so much stuff to do at that school. It's right downtown. Hell.
Yeah, it's downtown. Now, keep in mind, he's going to Michigan State. At Georgia Tech, they had 17 varsity programs, albeit 14 of those programs earned postseason competition. That's pretty damn good percentage.
Absolutely.
But he's in a bigger program. He's in a tougher league. Michigan State is in the Big Ten. Michigan State fans have high expectations, as they should. And in my opinion, even as a Michigan person, there's no excuse for Michigan State not to have a competitive football team. They need to win this year. They need to win. And with that being said, okay, is Jonathan Smith, even after year 2, if he doesn't make a bowl game, it seems to me he is in an extremely vulnerable position of losing his job. Am I overstating that or not?
If they don't make a bowl game this year?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not.
And the reason that door got open and correct me if I'm wrong, but when Alan Haller got fired, that was the buyout. That was a buyout safe zone
one of the things
for Jonathan Smith. Because when he got fired, that all of a sudden that $28 million payoff after year 2 or whatever that thing is goes away, right?
Yeah, no. If we don't make a bowl game this year, hey, all bets are off, buddy.
When you say all bets are off, you're saying he's fired.
He very well could be, because this man have no ties to him. He have no loyalty to him.
Right.
He has loyalty to Michigan State and winning.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't feel that, if we come out 5 and 7 or something like that, and the product just don't look, 5 and 7 and you had 4 games that you lost on the last second, something like that. Okay, it is what it is. Sometimes you just have bad luck. But if you're 5 and 7 and you got your ass kicked,
so
not good.
This is, and I'm not being critical of Michigan State fans, because this would be Michigan fan base too. But I'm going to make a prediction. This prediction is that if Michigan State starts out not 3-0, but 2-1 or whatever, if they lose to BC at home, or their fans are going to say, hey, let's just lose games to make sure that we get rid of Jonathan Smith. You know what I mean? They'll go to the games with this indifferent, oh, well, hey, we'll get a new coach next year if things don't work out. That's just human nature. And I remember this vividly in 2014 during the Brady Hoke era, the end of the Brady Hoke era at Michigan. And let's go, I don't give a shit if they lose to Ohio. We got to get rid of Brady Hoke. We got to get Harbaugh. We got to get a big name in here, blah, blah, blah. And that will happen when you talk to your fellow Spartans, Kerry Keyton, if they struggle early, I'm thinking.
Oh, well, hey, I've been on it. Michigan State got some of the worst fans ever.
Really? In what way? Why are Michigan State fans some of the worst ever?
I tell you how many times we got booed coming off Spartan Stadium, like we weren't out there trying to kill ourselves to win a damn football game, and these people are booing. I don't care who you're booing. You can say you're booing George if you want to. It doesn't matter. I'm on the field. I'm the one trying. George ain't playing. I'm playing, and my teammates, and you're booing us. That's not good. And Michigan State fans, they be doing that stuff all the time. Boy, that's some of the most fickle folks ever. And that's why I don't pay no attention to those people. They be on those rooms and running their mouth or whatever. I'm like, you really think these kids are out here going to these weight training sessions every day, which started last week, and killing themselves and out there practicing and extra work, and you think they're going out there to try to lose a damn game?
Yeah.
Are you serious? And you have the audacity to boo them?
Well, there might be booing. It's like Duffy Daugherty said when he was about ready to get fired, and they were booing Spartan fans, Spartan teams coming off the field in 1972. And Duffy goes on his show, well, don't boo the players, boo me. Well, they are booing you. They might be booing. They're booing the situation. They're not booing the play.
Especially nowadays, you could go online and boo the coach. Hey, Jonathan Smith sucks. Get his ass out of here.
Yeah.
You could do that. You don't have to do that at the game.
That's true.
There's a lot of other avenues you could go. Hell, you can have your own podcast and go in and talk bad about them if you want to, and post it out there. So go live on your Facebook Live and talk. You know what I'm saying? There's so many other ways you can get your voice besides having Facebook fingers and going behind the computer and typing and bad mouthing kids and everything else like these cowards do all the time. Like, if you got something to say, man, put your face out there and say it.
Well, now with NIL monies, and you have people contributing monetarily to the program, there is a sense of ownership, like, hey, or hear me out, or buying expensive seat licensing, or even as just a regular casual donor to the Spartan Fund. These fans think they have ownership and the right to boo or critique or have say of where this program is going.
Sure.
That's what's changed from now, it is now, to 50 years ago when they whacked Duffy Daugherty.
Well, all actions have consequences.
Okay.
So you can assume that, but once you write the check and hand it over, transaction's done. Now you could be mad that you gave it, or
yeah.
whatever, but once you sign it over, you're not in those meetings, you're not in any of those things. You're doing it of free will.
I get it.
You can, maybe if you spending that real money, then you can get you a little sweet or something like that. You can go up there and sit and have some free hot dogs and cookies and Moments ice cream or something. Well, you big dog. But once you're doing that out of favor, you
Right.
want your program to do well with that. Write the check, go about your business. Me personally, I'm going to the first game, and I'm not going any more games because I'm not trying to be around all those people. We already talked about that. But I'm not. I'm not. I don't have that. I don't have that disposable income to just go buy seat licenses. But my family had 8 season tickets for years. But I got this is other things. I mean, with football and everything else too, coaching. I got other things I want to do. But
you watch on top. I mean, the TV product I think is pretty incredible, in my own opinion. And if I wasn't sitting in that press box at Stadium in Maine in Ann Arbor, I'd be at home. I'm sorry, I'm not doing the fan route. Not to sound smug or anything. I did that for 47 years, and I'm done with it.
Reality.
Yeah.
You have options, people, options.
Yeah.
I went to my mom and dad's house. My little brother had TV on. He has the YouTube TV. He had 4 games on. I'm like, how do I?
Yeah, another level. Yeah. I mean, I love college football. I love my favorite part of college football. Taking Cody down the game, coming back, watching SEC football at night on multiple TVs. Because hearing the crowd noise, the passion, it capped the perfect day. So there's a lot to be said. Okay, so J Batt gets hired. You think that it sounds like when you look at his skill set, he fits what you need. He's a marketeer. He's a financier. He's a money guy. He's a business guy. He's a salesman. To me, it sounds like a great hire in today's intercollegiate athletics. Yeah. A good hire. And they're paying him a lot of money. Well over $1 million a year.
He looks the part.
Yeah, he's articulate.
Let's just say that. Yeah. He looks the right part.
Now, Alan Haller, former player, bleeds green and white, really bright guy, well-spoken, but probably not, I'm assuming, wasn't aggressive enough or assertive enough in procuring NIL monies and things like that. Am I out in left field with that statement or not?
No, I'll say this. You have players, coaches, and then you have coaches. In my opinion, Allen was from being a player and knowing how everything that we go through, he was a player's AD. He was a student athlete's AD. He did a lot to make sure that the things really good. Now, it takes, like I said, I'm not necessarily was a Hollis fan, but Hollis was able to go and do all big personality, was able to go get a lot of things done, by being able to get the people to give up the money and then all the cool things that they
did. He was very creative. Basketball games on aircraft carriers. I get all that. Hockey games outdoors.
So you have to, I don't know if that was in Allen's skill set to be able to do stuff like that. If he was thinking outside the box, that kind of thing, whatever. Then you got to surround yourself with people who think like that.
Yeah.
Ideas and say, hey, what can we do to generate excitement and things of that nature for our programs and our kids, so that if nothing else, they have experiences. And when I was head coach at Eastern, I used to try to take my kids to every Michigan State game I could.
Yeah.
So they can experience that kind of stuff. Like, if this is where you think you want to be, this kind of environment, well, first of all, this is what it looked like. These big giants out here.
Can I interject something real quick though, with what you did with your Eastern kids? I think it would have behooved everybody if you took them to an Alma Scots game or an Albion game. For those who were more lined up with Division III talent or Grand Valley or Ferris State, if they were at D2, then always taking them to the D1.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
That's my opinion.
I'm one person. We can all get a ride to Frandor and walk over to the game at Michigan State.
No, I get that. But
I'm not driving. I'm not getting 15 kids in cars to drive to Alma or Saginaw, whatever.
No.
If they're good enough, whatever. At the end of the day, hey man, if you want to go to college, go to college and get you a degree and get you a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People always talk about them numbers to be playing and all the extra. Hey man.
Yeah.
Is it worth the wear and tear on your body to, whatever?
I get it. Okay.
In my opinion, again, I think if he could get those people to give up their money, and like I said, working with Nick Saban, which we all know is nothing easy about working with Nick Saban, and if he signed off on the man,
that got my attention
for sure.
That got my attention, and it was on the MSU site. The quote, and it was in all the papers and all the platforms, and then I saw a lot of the presser. I watched it, and keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. That's my philosophy. And I go, this is not Izzo blowing smoke as a great hire. I mean, I think he's legitimately a good hire, and he's gonna put the hours in. Okay, I want to say
he's not coming from Podunk U. He's
no.
Spot.
Yeah,
won some stuff.
This is going to be an incredibly intriguing Michigan State football season like never before, as far as where this is going. And so that's my biggest take on that. I want to segue over before we close out, man. We could go forever. But we had Coach Cheadle on of Langsford softball on last week. Lo and behold, the Wolfpack, as well as the Grand Ledge Comets in local softball, captured regional titles. So that was a good get last week. They had a lot of viewership. So hey, keep that funneling through here on Coach Keyton Crawford, Gary.
Getting it done, going to the court. It probably Tuesday somewhere. And like 11 innings long. Beat Lumen Christie, knocked Catholic kids out. So good to see the people win.
Yeah. Also, we have a good representation in baseball with Mason, Olivet, Portland St. Pat advancing to the semifinals. We had Okemos and Lansing Catholic got eliminated. Their seasons came to an end. But we got some good baseball and softball. And I got to say it, Mason is good at everything. It seems to me, at least
the classic came through and graduated last year.
Mm-hmm.
Was amazing. These kids have learned and lived off of those and continue to strive this year. Just really good. But they put the work in.
So they do put the work in.
And if you got some decent talent and you put the work in, man, it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
None of it free.
Then one more shout out and kudos. I know this is what's awkward about the Capillary Diamond Classic, the Dean Shippey Capillary Diamond Classic, which is a great 63 years this has been going on. Okay, that's amazing. So Grand Ledge plays Portland in the title game, and Portland holds out their star pitcher, because they're in the playoffs the next day, and so they bring up a JV guy, and he gets shelled, and it's like 14-0. So it's like these two forces, the state tournament and the sacred Diamond Classic clashed together. But Grand Ledge, easily won that game. But I got to give a shout out to the Comets as a program, and this started with Pat O'Keefe. But there's been 63 Diamond Classics. They've won 30. 30. Think about that for a second. That's crazy.
3-0. Now I will say this. If I was the head coach at Portland,
what would you have done?
I would have threw my big dog and tried to win that.
And you know what? And you know how that played out. The next day it rained. We've had all this rain, and he would have had. Well, that's hindsight. But I mean,
if you look at it, because I'm a weather. I'll be looking at the weather. I'll be planning. That's why Friday, our show, Saturday, got my yard all cut because I knew it was gonna rain today, so I could have me a fire last night. But you got to plan. I would have took my chances and threw my big dog and tried to win that classic because you still got to go regional.
Yeah.
You got to do the regional. You got the quarter. You got to do all this other extra stuff to try to make it to Michigan State for the semi. Yeah. I would have took my chances, and especially looking at the weather,
agree.
I would play my big dog and win that classic so I get that street cred because Portland right down the street from who? Grand Ledge. And
the other thing is, back in the 60s and 70s, I mean, the Diamond Classic, winning that was more sacred than, because winning a state championship was hard. That's so far. Everything's got to come together, blah, 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 right?
Absolutely.
That was a big deal. And if you're going to enter the Diamond Classic, if you're going to, you write you ask for admittance and you get accepted or rejected, don't do that unless you're going to follow through the damn thing. And I'm not saying they didn't follow through, but man, you bring up a JV pitcher. I don't. It's one of those. I don't.
Yeah, that was a tough call. I mean, Portland.
It's not fair to the other players, in my opinion.
They had to drop out because of the weather. Because they had who was it? They played a stupid game on Friday. Who played the game on Saturday?
Well, the weather was really apt up.
No, they played the districts on Friday instead of Saturday like everybody else does.
Yeah.
And so that's what bounced them up to the Thursday, and then they played the on Friday. So they really couldn't. And they they're number one in D4, so they got a chance to win the state championship. So Portland, they could have won it, but Portland State Pat have a much better chance to win the state championship than Portland did. I would have threw my big dog and tried to win that classic.
Okay, one more thing before we close out. Back to Grand Ledge. So I was there with Teddy and Snelly doing our Tom's Tape. We're at Lickety Split, right? The ice cream play. Grand Ledge is a cool town. Okay. So they have this baseball field right within walking distance. This Little League baseball field, which is phenomenal. And it shows you the commitment to baseball in some of these small towns.
Well, that's all Pat O'Keefe. He's been doing it for 50 years.
I know. It's just commitment and priority.
I don't know if he still runs the Parks and Rec baseball program. He might pass it over to somebody now. But, the man did his regular team and then did the summer league baseball. That's why you never really saw. You have a few kids that might have went and played for 205 or, whatever.
Yeah, 205 was a big glamour team, right?
They had their own Grand Ledge American Legion team that was sweet. You don't need to go play for 205. You go just play for us, and that's why we keep on winning.
Yeah.
So that's why I got 1,000 wins and state championships and Hall of Fame and blah 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 because he put the work in.
Yeah.
You start he's out there 3, 4, 5 years old out there playing baseball.
Well, good luck to Mason, Olivet, and Portland St. Pat in baseball, and Langsburg, and I believe Grand Ledge is still in it for the semi, for softball. So a lot of good talent and dedication on the Diamonds here in Greater Lansing. It's Coach Keyton Crawford here on the Crawford Podcasting Network.
Also,
shout
out to the Quakers and the big, I mean, the big red always gonna be a big red. And the Vikings that all graduated yesterday at the Breslin.
Okay.
All walked across the stage. All the young people got the diplomas and all that good stuff. So shout out to all those young people that achieved an achievement.
Yeah.
And onward. How they can move on into the big world.
Yeah, onward. So whatever path you want to go, whether it's traditional college or a trade or some other thing, go get it done. Just be passionate and do and put the work in.
Get out there, get that hustle, get the work. Because it ain't gonna wait for you.
No. All right. Great job, Kerry Keyton. And we will see you next Sunday here on Coach Keyton Crawford on the Crawford Podcasting Network as Kerry Eyes ends it.
Go green.
Go blue. See ya.